This week on Music Worth Buying, we're going to be focusing in on Michael Ubaldini's Songster.
And One Hopeful Road, the latest album by Vintage Trouble.
Hello everybody and welcome to Music Worth Buying. My name is Robert Kinsler and I'm a music writer and a musician.
And my name is TJR and I'm a musician and a music writer.
You are indeed.
Thank you.
And I'm going to kick off today's show.
Yes.
We're going to be focusing in on the latest album from Michael Ubaldini. This is Songster. Now this is an amazing album. It's a single disc album, but it's 21 songs. And these are primarily acoustic. Michael is armed with his acoustic guitar, his harmonica, and his rich baritone, and he predominantly is doing original songs. Many of these songs are ones that fans of Michael have heard him do before. They've been on other albums, but these are definitely remade, focusing in on the the bare structure of the songs. These are acoustic, but they are just powerful, and as we've both discussed, we're both fans of his. He's just an amazing songwriter.
He's a very good songwriter.
Yeah, very good songwriter. I mean, the melodies, he's steeped in the American tradition, whether it's Hank Williams, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Lennon and McCartney, Bob Dylan. But his voice is very much his own artistically. But he's able to really communicate a lot of different areas, beyond the usual just romance and politics. But I mean, he really, whether it's...
He's a good storyteller.
Very good storyteller.
Storyteller.
Yeah. And on this album also, he does a couple, old traditional numbers, although we're not going to talk about those on the show. What I thought we'd do on Songster, before we get into talking a little bit more about it, let's listen to a little bit of World Comes Crashing Down. That's the second track on the album.
Cool, yeah.
You're like a steam engine, a rolling wheel, a hurricane, a blazing sun, an uncut ruby switchblade, the ammunition from a gangster's Tommy gun. When you come around, mama, my whole world come crashing down.
Now, I've heard that song before, and in fact, I've seen him do it live. I've always enjoyed that song. It's a great rock and roll song. My question is, though, is a lot of these songs I noticed on this album here are songs that he has recorded previously, many of them with a full band.
Yeah, like Gene Harlow, immediately Scratch My Back, a great rockabilly style song.
So my question is, though, is why go back and redo these as... What was the reason to go back and redo them?
Now, when I talked to Michael, if memory serves me well, and of course he'll let me know, let us know if I mess this up. But Walter Clevenger has been, I think, recorded many of the tracks here, like is producing the album or working with him in his studio. Walter, I guess, heard him doing some of the acoustic and said, "Why don't we do an album of that stuff?" I think he's actually working on his next full band album, a proper release, let's say. But it was sounding so good in the studio. I guess Walter, who's also a fantastic singer-songwriter in his own right, encouraged him to do this.
Okay.
And I know he has done albums like Acoustic Rumble that were more acoustic natured, but he hasn't done that for a while. He's been more focused, I think, on doing some of his country albums, like with the
Lonesome Playboys,
and like Portable Record Player, that kind of had a power pop backbone to it. So here, I think he's definitely stripped it back to the kind of to the raw nature of the songs. Probably him when he comes up with some of these great songs. So you're hearing them like they are at their creation, which is kind of cool, And now the album release, and it's very cool, but it is just basically, just a sleeve here with some really cool artwork. No lyrics or anything, just on the back you can see it has all 21 track names and talks about, Walter Clevenger, gives a website and that kind of thing. Not a lot of information as far as the physical packaging, but again, if you have Michael's other albums, you're going to have more information on some of the songs there. And obviously you can go to his website and get more information too on it and stuff. What I thought we'd do next is let's listen to a little bit. I think a song that we both like too is that Married by the Gospel, Divorced by the Law, and just great. Again, these lyrics are kind of, on one level they're straightforward, but another level they're just very literate, and just a great use of the English language here and supporting the music and stuff. So listen to a little bit of that one.
Check it out.
Married by the gospel, divorced by the law. The wedding chapel leads to the courthouse wall. Cut through my heart like a rusty old chainsaw, married by the gospel, divorced by the law. After a couple.
And of course, I've heard that song before too. It's a great song.
Yeah.
You know, whether I hear it with a full band, whether I hear it acoustically, it is a great song, and I just love its lyrics.
Yeah, it's great. It's funny, like you said, he's a great storyteller. He really does that, and across Michael's career, he's really created this amazing body of work.
Yeah.
Just so many fantastic songs. You almost it just defies you that he's not more popular or well known. I know he's got probably even more recognition in Europe than he has even here in the United States where he's from.
Yeah.
So
Isn't it always that way?
Yeah, it seems like it. And but again, it's just great to hear that he's continuing to challenge himself and continuing to write these great songs. And definitely, I think you could say he's one of the champions of alternative Americana. Kind of blending blues and country and folk, and he just brings all those elements together and does it so well.
Yeah. I'll be looking forward to his next full band album of new original material.
Yeah, so
I'm really
will
looking
I.
forward to checking that out. Okay.
Now, what did you bring in today?
Well, I have with me, of course, the much anticipated, long awaited follow up by Vintage Trouble to their first album, The Bomb Shelter Sessions, this one's entitled One Hopeful Road. Interesting title. I'm still trying to figure out why it's exactly titled that. I've done a lot of research, have not been able to figure out why. But it doesn't matter. It's a great album. It's a very solid follow up. There is kind of always this sort of how shall I put it? When you first saw Star Wars in the theater, and I was there, back when it first showed up in theaters as a kid, and you first saw, the princess's ship being chased by the Imperial, cruiser, and that sense of wow, no other Star Wars film is going to top how you felt when you first saw the first one.
Exactly.
Nothing's going to top it. And so this album had so much critical praise when it came out, and just the impact this band made. And I think a lot of that impact had to do with their live show.
Yeah, definitely.
Live, they were just so stunning, and they made such a huge impact that it's kind of I feel like they've got a lot going against them with their expectations on this second album.
Heavy, big expectations. You're right.
Once in a while, you get a situation like, say, with the recent Alabama Shakes album, where the band goes off in a completely different direction you don't expect them to, and they totally surprise you. Most bands, after a really successful and critically successful initial debut album, the next album is Volume 2, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as you make a good album. This is definitely Volume 2, in my opinion, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I remember on the first album, I said in my review, I really hope they give us more of those kind of balls to the walls rockers like they did with their opening track, on the first album. Whereas I felt a lot of it kind of went more mid-tempo for the rest of the album. Now they actually do give us a lot more rockers on this track. I guess they listened to me.
Yeah,
thanks,
that's good.
Guys.
Thank
I
you
know
guys.
you were listening. No, I'm sure I had nothing to do with it. But no, there are more rockers actually on this album than the last one. There are. Then of course there's the selection of mid-tempo numbers and slower numbers.
Right.
If there's anything different about One Hopeful Road versus the Bomb Shelter Sessions, I would say it's a more soulful album.
Yeah.
Whereas the first album was, I think, more. Not that it wasn't soulful, but it was more rooted in rock and roll, and especially early rock and roll.
Yeah,
Whereas
and
this one,
I totally agree with you.
much more rooted in soul. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to play one of the. Actually, I'm going to start with one of those slower tracks. I think it's a great track, and it was initially featured on the acoustic EP, which they only released digitally prior to this, and you couldn't get a physical copy of it. And this is called Another Man's Word. Here we go.
That the wrong that he said was done, I could never do. Tell me why would you believe another man's words over mine? Tell me why would you believe?
And we've both heard, this is one of those rare instances where we've both heard the album and are familiar with it, and we're both very familiar with the band, too. It's just a great song. Ty Taylor, the singer, just sounds fantastic here. I mean, he live, he's so energetic running around, but here you really get to listen to what a great vocalist he is, what a great singer, and the rest of the band is just terrific. All the nuanced performing. I mean, just terrific.
There's so much nuance to the performance by the band and everybody. And also, I would even dare say, maybe it's because it's a new album. Maybe I'm wrong in saying this. Maybe it's just because it's a new album. But I almost feel like Ty Taylor's vocals are better on this album than they were on the first album. And his vocals were already great on the first album.
Yeah, they were.
But I think there's actually just even more richness to his vocals. Or maybe they were just better recorded. Who knows?
Yeah, Don was produced this album, which is a big deal.
I was about to bring that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, of course, their second album, but it's their first album on Blue Note Records, which is their new label. And, of course, Don was produced this. Of course, he's a great producer. He's done so much amazing work with so many great artists. Packaging-wise, now this comes in a standard jewel case, and so it has an essay on the back here, which is, I think, well worth reading.
Very well worth reading.
We have a nice little essay on the back.
One of us could have written that, right?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, thank you.
I think so. And also, now the booklet, of course, is nice too. It includes some photos. It includes all the lyrics. The lyrics are very, very easy to read. Thank you very much for doing that. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, thank you very much. And then the usual credits, but I think it's a good booklet, nicely put together.
Yeah.
And but anyways, though, let's go ahead. We will check out now one of the rockers on this album, and this one is called "Strike Your Light." Here we go.
I'm coming, baby, from underground. You've been pulling me out of the hole I was sliding down. Don't stop now, baby. Give me mine. I've been waiting and wanting and wondering all my life. I like to feel it.
And that was "Strike Your Light" off the latest album, One Hopeful Road. And you know, I think if I have any complaint about this album, I don't have any complaints about the songs themselves as songs. My only real complaint about the album is in how the songs were sequenced on the album.
Interesting.
You know, I think sequencing is very important. I think we could do a show on it. How you sequence an album can have a lot to do with how you perceive an album from start to finish.
Okay.
And you know, I felt like there were enough rockers this time around that instead of doing it the way they did it, which was they started off with a rocker, then suddenly they just came down with two slow songs.
Yeah.
You know, I would have thought, you know, two rockers in front of each other, then go to mid-tempo, then slow down to the slow burner, then go back up to more mid-tempo and start to bring it back up again, and really develop, you know, more hills and valleys, musical hills and valleys, to where, you know, it's not too many slower songs in a row, you know. And I just think it could have been sequenced better. In fact, if I'd had a little more time, I might have even sat down and said, well, how would I have sequenced this album if I was there, if I was in charge of that? But I think that would be my only real complaint, which is how it was sequenced. Individually, the songs are great.
Interesting perspective. I guess I need to re-listen to it and then give it a more detailed thought like that. Yeah.
Otherwise, this is a solid follow-up.
Yeah, definitely so. And you know, as we have featured Vintage Trouble on the show before, and I was very fortunate once I got to go with the band when they performed on a jet airplane.
Yes.
We've done that as a separate episode.
Yeah,
but you know, since exactly. And I first caught Vintage Trouble at Coachella in 2013, and this is a band that, like we say, heavily steeped in soul and early rock and blues and stuff like that. And here they were performing. And they played at like 2:30 in the afternoon. It was more than 100 degrees. This is at Coachella, and they just killed it for 35 minutes. Lead singer, his pants even ripped. He didn't miss a beat. The band just knocked it out. And then I've subsequently seen them a few other times. They just keep getting better and better. And this is a band, you know, get their albums definitely, but also go see them live.
Yeah.
I mean, they really celebrate the power of live music in ways that a lot of young bands simply aren't doing anymore, and I think, you know, it'll invigorate you, just like and they will not sit there idly by and let the crowd be kind of, you know, just looking at their phones and this and that. They demand that you become a part of the show, and it's great.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I think that's what really, I think, polarizes you as a fan, is when you see them live.
Oh yeah,
don't miss
there's
that
no doubt
opportunity.
about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thanks for bringing Vintage Trouble, and I love that band.
Thanks for bringing in Michael Ubaldini. It's good to hear from him. Looking forward to his next release. He's done so much great music. I hope that more people will discover him.
Yeah. Go get both these albums. They're both terrific.
We want to thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and if you have, thank you so much. We really thank everybody who has shared our show on Facebook, Twitter, and whatever other social media that you partake in. And until next time, my name is TJR. You can check out my music at my website, tjrmusic.com. And I have my own YouTube channel where I perform live music as well, which is TJR The Original. And of course, you can check out my solo reviews when I get around to them here at the channel.
And my name is Robert Kinsler, and of course you can read my reviews here at musicworthbuying.com and also at ocregister.com and at musicnewsnashville.com and desertstarweekly.com. And if all else fails, just go to Google, put in Robert Kinsler, and something will come up.
You'll find something.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to go there. I was about to make a joke. I'm not going there.
Okay.
Okay,
Sounds
so
good.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Take care.
See you later, everybody.
Bye.